Humanities. Grade 3 Humanities at Wurundjeri Primary School covers the following. Students focus on features and characteristics of their local area and other parts of Victoria. This includes other human and physical characteristics and how they've changed over time. It also includes settlement patterns, major land uses, and location of national parks in Victoria. They draw comparisons between local and other Victorian environments, specifically in regards to climate, natural features, and land types and use. Students are also taught how people's interactions with the environment and the land affect their lives. They visualise location using grids and compass points, distinguish between needs and wants, for example, clothing, food, shelter. They also learn about days celebrated in Australia, for example, Anzac Day, and days celebrated around the world, for example, Bastille Day. However, over the last term, the students have been learning about the significance of country and place to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who belong to local areas.
ACARA has 3 cross-curriculum priorities to assist students in developing the skill and knowledge they will require to face issues in the 21st century. This includes sustainability, Asia and Australia's engagement with Asia, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander histories and culture. Indigenous studies is delivered across 3 key concepts, which provides the framework for this priority. The first key concept focuses on Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people's special connection to the land through their belief systems. The second key concept explores the diversity of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples through their language and ways of life. The third key concept looks at the diversity of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander societies. Project Respect, Relationships, Reconciliation, also known as Project RRR, contains 3 modules designed to provide educators with the resources to meet focus areas 1.4 and 2.4. The Australian Professional Standards for Teachers has 2 focus areas which focuses on teaching and understanding Indigenous students. Focus Area 1.4, Strategies for Teaching Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Students. Focus Area 2.4, Understand and respect Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people to promote reconciliation between Indigenous and non-Indigenous Australians. Module 1 provides us with the opportunity to gain a deeper understanding of respect, relationships, and reconciliation. We reflect on our own culture and beliefs and understand how that affects our pedagogy. Module 2 addresses Focus Area 1.4, which assists teachers to develop the strategies to construct our own identity as we understand why it is important to include the values and experiences of Indigenous people within our practice. Module 3 addresses Focus Area 2.4 with resources to help us interpret the Australian curriculum and understand where Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander fall in our teaching areas. We gain an understanding of the historical event that has impact on contemporary Australians to assist us in respectfully enhancing the effectiveness of our practice. As a whole school, we can make aware to the students the important and significant dates to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Our students can gain an understanding of their own culture and beliefs and how that creates their identity to compare how important identity is to Indigenous Australians and how their identity is formed.
Pedagogy. Child Australia definition. Pedagogy is about learning, teaching and development influenced by the cultural, social and political views we have for children. How we teach children is very important as all children learn differently. Teachers have their own personal philosophy of how they teach using a theory or theorists. Our theorists we have chosen is Gardner's model. Howard L. Gardner was born in Scranton, Pennsylvania in 1943. Howard studies at Harvard University. Through his studies in psychology and social sciences, Gardner was able to formulate his theory of multiple intelligences. The 7 intelligences are 1. Linguistic, 2. Logical, 3. Musical, 4. Bodily kinesthetic, 5. Spatial, 6. Interpersonal, 7. Intrapersonal. Number 8. Naturalistic. All children learn differently, therefore teachers need to teach each child differently using the multiple intelligences. By visiting the Wurundjeri Cultural Centre, students can experience the history, geography, civics, citizenship, economics and business of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders people. The language map. Students can physically touch the map, listen to the different languages of the different tribes throughout Victoria. Understanding each tribe speaks a different language and not all the same language. Life on the river. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders continued with their lives during the settling of the white people. They held corroborees, healed, competed and painted. At the Immigration Museum, students will learn the history of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders timeline from pre-1830s to the 2000s. In the classroom, teachers prepare lessons for all the students as part of the curriculum to teach Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander perspectives. The unit will enhance their knowledge and understanding of the history, geography, civics, citizenship of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders perspective. Through the unit, students will work together in groups of 2 or 3 or independently. Students will have the opportunity to work in their own learning styles according to Gardner's 8 intelligences. What is pedagogy? Child Australia definition. Pedagogy is about learning.
As you will be aware, as part of our Humanities unit, the students embarked on an excursion earlier in the term to the Melbourne Museum. This was visiting the Aboriginal and First Nations people exhibit of Wurundjeri. The children, once inside, were set a task of finding any cultural artefacts they thought would have some significance in photographing to use for an upcoming portfolio piece that would be completed in class. The photographs also would be used for discussions between students in order to compare the previous knowledge of Aboriginal culture prior to starting the topic of reconciling Australian humanities. This then would be compared with the knowledge once they had completed the unit. You will be shown some of the artefacts that have been collected by the students throughout the slide, and I will be providing some background information as to why collecting and discussing these artefacts was an important part of the Humanities unit studied. When entering the exhibit, the children first noticed the acknowledgement sign that was placed on the wall. The welcome sign is of great significance as we have been discussing the importance of reconciling Australian humanities by being inclusive and respectful. Meeting the professional standards of Policy 2.4 to understand and respect Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people to promote reconciliation between Indigenous and non-Indigenous Australians, in turn showed that the children had taken notice of this Wurundjeri welcome sign, meaning welcome. Citing the welcome sign enables the children to promote reconciliation between Indigenous and non-Indigenous people by placing the acknowledgement where it is helping to promote respect, inclusiveness and equality. The students came across a message stick while exploring the exhibition. It is known that Aboriginals and First Nations people carve message sticks from wood as a form of communication between different cultures, tribes and language groups. The exhibition Wurundjeri has an interactive map that the children are able to touch the sound button with their fingertip, which allows the correct pronunciation of the traditional tribe's name located on the map to be pronounced. Aboriginal Australia was known to be made up of more than 500 different tribes, all speaking their own traditional language. The interactive map as an artefact shows the children not only a visual perspective but an interactive perspective for mapping and location. The map is also used as a comparison for the students that helps them to compare what the traditional cultural name is as discovered by listening to the board as opposed to the westernised name that has now been given after settlers' invasion. The interactive map can be used to teach students both Professional Standard 2.4 and 1.4 by ensuring that the children understand and respect the traditional names that the area had been previously given, and being inclusive and respectful by also incorporating Professional Standard 1.4 strategies for teaching Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students.
Assessing and celebrating students' work. Assessing. Assessment is the ongoing process of gathering, analysing and reflecting on evidence to make informed and consistent judgment to improve future student learning. The primary purpose of assessment is to improve student performance, where good assessment is based on a vision of the kinds of learning we most value for students and how they might best achieve these. Assessment for improved student learning and deep understanding requires a range of assessment practices to be used with 3 overarching purposes: assessment for learning, assessment of learning, assessment as learning. Assessment of learning occurs when teachers use evidence of student learning to make judgments on student achievement against goals and standards. It is usually formal, frequently occurring at the end of units of work, where it sums up student achievement at a particular point in time. It is often organised around themes or major projects, and judgments may be based on a student performance on multi-domain assessment tasks. It has a summative use showing how students are progressing against the standards, and a formative use providing evidence to inform long-term planning. Assessment for learning occurs when teachers use inferences about student progress to inform their teaching. It is frequently formal or informal, embedded in teaching, and provides clear and timely feedback that helps students in their learning progression. It has a formative use, providing evidence that informs or shapes short-term planning for learning. Assessment as learning occurs when students reflect on and monitor their progress to inform their future learning goals. It is regularly occurring, formal or informal, example, peer feedback, buddies, formal self-assessment, and helps students take responsibilities for their own past and future learning. It builds metacognition as it involves students in understanding the standards expected of them, in setting and monitoring their own learning goals, and in developing strategies for working towards achieving them.